there on the group as well. So there's some pretty good stories out there. I posted that one about Marnus debuting his Ashes debut. That's an incredible story, and set of circumstances to have to go out there in. And I haven't seen the full doco yet, but it's that little snippet. There's a few really good moments there, and the moment that he walks through that Lord's dressing room, I can only imagine. That would be daunting at the best of times, but walking out in those circumstances, onto Lords to and then the face Archer and Broad and in the Ashes, what a way to make your debut. So in that on that note, we thought we'd have a chat to one of our young up and comers who made their first 11 debut. Kick off the conversation with Charlie Ward, who's joined us tonight. Charlie, you there with us, mate?
Yeah, I'm here.
Gotcha. All right, so you kicked off your first 11 debut was last year, and you played the first game at Glen Iris. We're playing at home against Old Carey, who went on to win the flag. Your first two games were actually both one-dayers against them. It happened to be the first game that we played. It went down the last ball. Fortunately, someone happened to drop the catch, I believe. Do you remember who that was, Charlie?
No, I can't.
Thanks, Charlie.
Show your face, you coward.
Maybe.
No.
Yeah. So, Charlie, maybe let's kick off with how do you remember the day? What do you remember most about your first 11 debut?
Oh, I just remember it was just such a different culture. I don't know, like it's a lot more like it's a lot more serious, and it's a big step up.
Yeah.
It was a good experience, like you have to get there like half an hour before the game, in which like compared to the seconds, you have to get there like half an hour more early and stuff like that. It's more intense warm-ups, just little stuff like that.
Yeah. Did you enjoy the experience?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What did you like? Which part of it, I guess, did you like most about it? What really got you?
Oh, just I don't know, just hanging around the team, like best players at the club, just hanging around them, learning some stuff, getting a bit of a bat as well. Nice.
Yeah.
No, just being in the field. I don't know, it was just a good day.
Which of the players? Who was someone that you're looking forward to playing with, and did they live up to the expectations? In the dressing room and out there on the field. Who got you? Who stood out?
Well, I'd done a bit of keeping work with Viv in the past, so it was good to play with him finally. Like he was quite a big leader in the team.
Yep.
And like huge scouts as well. Just lots of players I've heard about not being able to play with yet. It's nice.
Anyone who concerned you? Was there anyone who really worried you that you thought you might have been at a bit of that they were going to really tear strips off you, or were you intimidated by anyone?
Like bowlers from the other team?
No, from our team, your teammates.
Oh, like facing them in the nets.
That, or just on game day. Did anyone was everyone quite welcoming, or did you get?
Oh yeah, everyone was quite welcoming. I thought.
Yep.
Quite part of the team, which is nice. And
you did get a bat as a one dayer, and you went out there at number 7. Your first runs. Do you remember what happened there with your first runs?
I don't remember my first runs in particular, but I remember one shot played through mid-wicket, which hit quite nicely. Might have been my first runs. Can't really remember, but yeah. Good. One of my favourite shots. Played that probably.
Yeah, I think you can claim that as your first run. So that was a flick off your pads, and it went for 4. I think one bounce over the rope.
Yeah. Hit it nicely.
Yeah.
It's good because got a bit of lip from the other team as well. So it was nice to get a boundary off the rip.
What was some of the chat from the opposition?
Oh, just calling me an under 10 and stuff like that. Just setting some stupid fields, just stuff like that, thinking that like I'm an easy wicket sort of thing.
Yep.
Like just some little stupid stuff like that. No, it's quite funny, I thought.
And yeah, so you cope with that, all right. I'm sure there's a few of us in the room who will probably remember those first games too, when you're a young teenager out there playing against some seasoned campaigners, and some of the chat that might come your way.
Yeah, nah, I didn't. Chat doesn't really bother me too much. I just kind of laugh it off a bit. Been given it quite a bit, even in like seconds as well. You get a bit of lip as well.
Yeah.
Got a bit used to it.
How about training? What stood out for you with training? And I guess the more you did spend a fair bit of time with us with your training, and then obviously school cricket kicks in. But you did get to you were in there with us for a number of weeks. So what was the difference, or what did you most enjoy about training and being part of the group there?
It was definitely a step up, which I liked. It's just a bit more intense, took it a bit more seriously. It wasn't just like a joke around, waste of time sort of session. Like you actually had to focus and try and improve your game.
Yeah.
Which I liked.
Good, and you did that. I think we all probably play a bit better when we play against better players, or we're in a bit of a challenging environment. What would be your advice to the other younger guys coming through? I think we've got Lockie, Jappy, and Cooper, and they might not all be pressing for the first 11 next year, but they're not far off it. Well, what's your advice? Heading into for the younger players here.
Just a lot of hard work. Like, gotta stick at it. Take training seriously. Just work on little parts of your game. Like, do what's best for the team. That sort of stuff, and it really pays off in the long run, I reckon.
Yep. All right. All right. Does anyone have any questions for Charlie? Any other questions?
When did you find out you were playing ones, Charlie? Did you find out on the Thursday night, and who told you?
I found out like a week before, because first had a bye, and the seconds were playing the week before,
right? And
I wasn't named in the seconds, and then Lucas told me I was in the ones.
You had a whole week to chew on it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Were you nervous?
Oh yeah, I was pretty nervous.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really know what to expect, because I hadn't played too much senior cricket.
Yeah.
Like maybe a little bit the season before, because I played a lot of school cricket, so I don't get none of that experience. So I didn't really know what to expect. So yeah, I was going into it pretty nervous.
And in the second half of the year, when you come back and played, I think you played mainly seconds. Is that right?
Yeah.
Did you walk to the crease much more confident playing twos, knowing that you'd played ones?
Yeah, I definitely saw it. I wasn't in the greatest of form second half of the season.
Yeah.
So first half of the season, my confidence was up high. But yeah, it was I had a bit more confidence. I felt like I was like more part of the club in that aspect.
Yep.
Just better experience, know everyone a bit better from like playing training with them all.
What number cap were you? Can you remember?
Pardon?
What number cap were you?
Oh yeah, 111, I think.
111. Okay, it's easy to remember, isn't it?
Yeah.
Go on, well done.
Thank you.
I've got a question.
Yes, KP, come in.
Charles, would you say that after I captained you for 1.5 games that I was instrumental in your development and basically the reason you got a spot in the ones?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think that's the whole reason.
What was so good about my captaincy?
Oh, just your leadership was spectacular on and off the field. Just an inspiration.
Good answer, pal.
Chris, I've just got a captain for you, mate, just seeing as you're on the blower there, mate. Just want to know why you jumped off that ship that was ever so slightly slipping into the water there, mate, and came up into the ones. How'd that come about?
I actually can't remember what you're talking about. All I can remember is playing one last year.
You know how you were skipper and then just burnt everyone?
Moving on.
Sorry, mate. Yeah, carry on.
Yeah. That could end in tears.
We're about to advertise for captains for the twos and other sides. So Do you think KP would be submitting an application, Ro?
KP, I just want to ask a question. How many games did you captain? Captain to a win last year, mate?
Toby, we're not doing this on a public forum
Chrissy,
with children.
What was the
Rowan,
key to...
Rowan, cut it out.
You know that Lucas actually played more twos wins than you this year?
Right,
What was the key to losing?
Is it about Charlie or me? What's going on?
Yeah, well, I think we'll talk about captaincy in a couple of weeks' time. Hey, Charlie, look, thanks for jumping on tonight. It's good to see you. I'm looking forward to seeing what comes this season. You know, you've been building, and you know you made a couple of, I think, 100 and some big scores in the 16s and some school stuff, and you know, it was really good to see you in the ones. So. You know, thanks for joining us tonight and starting off the conversation. Now, I know there's a couple of others out here that are going to have some some pretty good debut stories. I might throw it to Brett. Brett, if you want to give us a couple of your stories there on your debuts.
I actually remember Brett was in the twos. I actually remember Brett.
Brett, you sound different.
Avoiding playing in the ones.
You're on mute, Brett.
Okay, there you go. Sorry.
There you go.
Yeah, I've got a bit of a high and low story. At my junior club, I actually got picked in the ones when I was 16 as a batsman, and we lost the toss and bowled first. And mind you, when I was 16, I was very, very small. For those of you who know me, I'm not very big. So I was tiny as a 16-year-old. And when we were going out, they kept talking about the big wicket of the other team's superstar. And sure enough, he was on about 70 just before tea, and they were one down for about 130. And I'd taken a couple of wickets by leggies in the twos in the weeks leading up to that game. Yep. So the captain threw me the ball just before tea and said, "Oh, why don't you have a go?" And I was just like, I was shitting myself. I was like, "Are you kidding? This guy's just going to whack me everywhere." So I bowled first ball, full toss. He hit it straight to mid-wicket along the ground. Second ball was the half tracker. I think it nearly rolled or double bounced actually, so he didn't hit it properly. And then third ball, he came charging down the wicket, and I managed to land it, and it went straight past him and got him stumped. And so they were 2 for 130 just before tea. So the captain gave me the ball again straight after tea, and we ended up rolling him for 170, and I ended up with fifer, which was an absolute shock to everyone who knows that I can't bowl. So that was incredible as a 16-year-old to do that with a whole. I hadn't even met the guys before I got picked in that team, because back at we didn't really train with the seniors. And then, so not so good story. When I first came to GI, I got picked in the ones round one when I first came across, and we were defending I think it was about 130 or 140, and it was pretty tight. And I think the captain at the time, Hayden Lane, had bowled all his good bowlers early to try and stop the rot. Yeah. And it was getting pretty close. And then he said, "Oh, you're going to have to bowl the last few overs." and sure enough, this Sri Lankan fella went to town on me, and they got it done in one of my overs. So I actually got dropped.
How many?
I think it was about 14 or 15.
Nice.
And that was with 2 or 3 overs to go. And then I actually got dropped after that and didn't play again till the following year. So I actually went from, high on life to pretty flat. So yeah, it just shows how quickly it can change from, one game to another.
Definitely. So taking notes there, Tommy, it might be a good thing to throw him the ball, or it might not be. I'll leave that with you.
He's not getting the ball after that. Not on the one days.
No. definitely not.
You're sometimes on a hiding to nothing. It can go either way. Anyone else? Who else out there has got a good debut story?
KP.
I'm going to finish on KP. KP. We'll finish with you. Anyone else out there?
Yeah, I'll jump in. I'll just prove how old I am.
Yes.
So I actually had to look this up. I made my debut round 3, 1990. That's how old I am. I am an old person trapped in a young person's body. So I wasn't even in the team. I didn't feel. It was Dad. It was the 4th 11. And because Glen Iris fourths were notoriously awful, a couple of blokes didn't rock the second week, so I got inserted into the game. Walked out to bat, and absolutely, I was just turned 14. Wasn't playing any form of cricket. Pretty sure I lost at least 2 of my stumps first ball. But, just from that moment, did learn the fact you never, ever turn around to see the destruction. You just keep walking. So, to the old bloke's credit in that 4th 11 side, I was good enough to actually bat twice on the one day. And I wore it as a badge of honour. I came out, the game to be survived and, batted 6 balls for 0 not out. Oh, fuck. I went back to school in year 8. Wow, it's like facing, Lawson, Alderman, Rackerman at the time. Did everything. It was great.
There you go.
But my senior debut, my first 11 debut was in 1999. And it was a one-day game, and Dennis Bilston was the captain of the side. And I got the call up. I was absolutely cacking myself. No different from Charlie or Gatey or anyone like that. Didn't actually believe I was good enough. Anyway, we played Baronia, and one-day cricket's a lot different now to what it was back then. And Baronia's made like 190 at Eric Raven, and to put it in perspective, it's like making 270 now in a one-day game. That was huge, and for all of us, we just looked at that and gone, we're so not making this. But Dennis being Dennis, he saw an opportunity to light it up, and so promoted himself to 3 as a good captain, and just watched DB single-handedly take on Baronia, and it was got close. We're still in the game. DB, cut a long story short, ended up making 90 with about 4 sixes in there or something like that. Anyway, walked out to bat, and because it's October, there's no daylight savings, and one-day cricket tends to go late back then. So it was fairly darkish. Anyway, I think Jay Potter was batting up the other end, and Jay I'd known since I was 14 at the cricket club. He just reassured me, "You okay?" "No, I'm in pieces." "What's going on here?" Just bat on ball. So first ball, I did get bat on it. It went through my legs all the way down to the Bluestone Rocks, the Bluestone club rooms at the time for 4. Cracking shot between the legs, and proceeded to slash one to the keeper about 3 balls later. So I think I was out for 4 or 5, and we chased down 190 back then. Was a huge effort. So
nice.
That's how old I am.
Got the win.
Yes, very much so.
Oh, good one to remember. Anyone else out there want to share their debut story?
I've got a debut of sorts. It's not from a local club, but I did like a 3-week teaching placement in Vanuatu, a small chain of Pacific Islands. And after doing some of the teaching in the local school, one of the kids invited me to come play for his local cricket club. And I thought that'd be a bit of fun to do while on like a 3-week little holiday. So on a Saturday morning after I'd had about maybe 45 minutes of sleep, I woke up at about 7:30 after quite a big night with the rest of the university crew to go play this game of local cricket because I thought, how hard could it be? There's some Vanuatu kids that play a bit of cricket. And it turns out that the way that their international cricket system works is that they don't really have like a district level. They've got local level where the
and that's like all they've got. So you're playing with park cricketers and their international T20 crew. And for those who don't know, they've got a pretty high strike rate. They're not too bad. So I rocked up at 7:30 to play this game, and the game didn't start till 12 o'clock because the kid forgot to tell me that everyone at the place runs on island time, and even though the game meant to start at 9 o'clock, the truck full of team members didn't rock up until about 11:30. No. So I've been sitting there for 4.5 hours on 45 minutes of sleep, trying to prepare myself for a game of cricket without any gear. Lucky for me, we batted first, so I had a bit of time to wait. And the two players on my team that opened were actually the openers for the national team. And they ended up both making a ton each in a 35, I think it was 30 over game. So I was sitting there thinking, well, either these two are really good or the bowlers are rubbish, or a bit of both. So I was getting pretty pumped up because they had me into bat, I think, at number 4, which I think was a bit drastic. But eventually, one of the two, they both went out, and we were on about maybe 280, 290 with 5 overs to go. So I thought, okay, I've got a bit of a chance to do something here. And after I've weaseled my way into this team, and all these people are watching me play a game of cricket, I went out first ball.
Recruit from Australia.
Yeah, some recruit from Australia coming to play cricket goes out for an LBW on the first ball. And all the while my uni mates are filming it from the sidelines and have it all on camera.
Oh, there's evidence.
I thought it was pitching outside leg, so I thought I'd just work it. But it caught me on the pads, and the umpire went up straight away.
Yep.
And I had to walk off after sitting there waiting for 5 hours to play game of cricket in another country.
We need that evidence, Hallie, by the way.
Yeah. It's on my Instagram, actually, which I'm sure you can find easily enough KP if you want.
I think
it's there. It's there to see. I'm wearing.
You can repost that later.
I'm wearing like a lime green and gold, full kitted one day uniform as well. Like 5 sizes too big. Disgusting. The upside is that they did after that somehow let me bowl, and I took 2 for about 4. So nice. I was pretty happy with that. I think the other team was no good. You don't believe it, Brett?
No.
Hand to God. I took a catch as well, but I'll always remember the golden duck after 2 other bats made it look incredibly easy.
Yeah, that's a little horrific. Let's hope your Glen Iris debut is a little better than that, and you've had a bit more sleep before. Did you go back out that night? Did you back it up?
Had a nap after the game and then went out.
Excellent. Well, that's important. That's very important. All right. Is anyone else out there with a quick story to tell?
Yeah. Well, I've got one. Well, my friend's about to die, but we'll see. I played it was probably my first senior game. I'm not sure what division it was. Dad probably knows, but it wasn't that good, you'd reckon. But some bloke made 200 and another bloke made 100 in about. They were both in about like 50 overs. They just kept batting. So yeah, that was a very that's what it was. It was very just weird, just a weird first game. You wouldn't reckon anyone would be making 200 in that division, but it was weird. And then I just went into bat, made about 20 odd, and then somehow got a best and fairest vote or something like that from the captain. So it was.
Was your dad the captain?
Yeah, it was a different. No. No.
Nice one, Coop.
On the Coop.
Yeah, that's there's some good stories out there. I guess my first 11 debut was for sub-district cricket, was for Croydon, and it was memorable for a couple of reasons. I was 15. I'd been my dad had played at the club, and I'd always gone along and watched. Just all I wanted to do was play first 11 cricket. And so I got my opportunity, and we're playing against Brunswick, and the two captain coaches were both ex-Shield players, so they were teammates, played for Victoria, and at the time in the match they were basically going head to head, and they were real competitors, like real absolute season campaigners. We lost a wicket. I had to go out as the non-striker. And it's fair to say that the anger and the vibe between these two, it was I wanted to be anywhere really but on that pitch. And I can still to this day remember just the grunting and the anger and it was on, like it was absolutely on for young and old, and they were all going at each other, and really high standard cricket, being played by these two guys. They were basically, it was the big wicket either way. But unfortunately, about 3 balls later, the captain coach hit one to cover, called yes, then no. And when he called yes, I took off a million miles an hour. And then he called no, and I got run out by half a pitch. And so ran out without facing first game. And probably about 2 overs later, the guys he needed a glove change. So my teammates sent me out with the gloves, and everyone thought that was absolutely great, sending the 15-year-old kid who'd just been absolutely cooked in his first game out to share the gloves. And needless to say, the skipper was a little sheepish. But at the same time, that's just the game of cricket, I guess. You win some, you lose some. So not the most memorable of days, but the next week I actually was fielding at mid-on and took a one-hander at mid-on to get the other skipper out. So I think I sort of contributed, and that's probably the good memory of that day. So Krishy, that's my story. Krishy, how about yours? How does your first game for Glen Iris compare to that?
Yeah, it's a bit of a tale here. I don't think anyone's apart from probably Rowan, and it's probably a good thing that he doesn't talk about it, but everyone's had a bit of a stinker on debut, which is probably not ideal. But yeah, mine. I used to it was my second year at GI, I think. So I was still living in Roval. So I drove to Mick Hancock's house in the morning because he lived in Mulgrave, which is not far, and we drove to the game together. And all week, Ro had been saying, you're going to bat at 7, and Mick was batting at 4. So on the way there, we're just talking about our plans for batting in those spots, and the way we go about it, and if certain game situations, the way we would react. So everything was good. Got to the ground, nice warm up. Everything was looking good. Ro won the toss, and we had a bat. So excited. First game in the ones. Things are looking good. And they had a West Indian, Darryl Brown, which I'm sure most of the old boys on here will remember. Big West Indian, bowled nice and fast. And they had another left armer as well who bowled nice and fast.
Darryl Brown played 1 days for West Indies, didn't he?
Played 1 days for West Indies.
Yeah,
so
he's good.
Yeah, he could really play. Anyway, so they started up bowling and were bowling very quick, and I think they got an early one. And Mick Hancock, and I've never forgiven Mick for this. I won a flag under Mick, and I still haven't forgiven him for what he did to me. He turned to Rowan and said, "Geez, I might just drop down the order here. This looks a bit too quick." So Ro turned to me and said, "Hey mate, I know you were batting at 7, but you're going to go in at 4 now." So go out there.
Hancock spoke about wanting to give solidarity down the order, and he wasn't feeling great. And
no,
just
they both drew the message like, "Mate, we want to give you a chance, and go out there and do your thing." But in reality, they were both just being cowards and just slipping down the order. So anyway, much like you said at the start, Scouts, Labuschagne walking through the long room there at Lord's. I walked through the long room at St Barney's, which is comparable in that sense. And Joffre Archer was bowling from one end, so that was my Darryl Brown, and had Ryan Skeen at the other end, which was my Stuart Broad. I walked out there, and just to add some flavour to the context, they were actually having internal arguments with themselves. So I'm sure a couple of the old boys will know Jamie Saparidanis as well. Probably remember that name from St. Barney's, but just an angry redhead who had issues with himself and with his team as well, and with the game of cricket. But T was just teeing off at his own teammates. So I walked out there and the wicketkeeper was actually in tears, and not for anything that we'd done, but yeah, he was in tears about something that Saparidanis had said to him. So that just threw me off straight away. And then before I knew it, the bowler was halfway through his run, and I thought, I can't remember if I took my guard or not. And then the ball was on my foot before I could blink. And the umpire, like before it, like they started appealing, had his finger up. So I was on my way back, and Hancock gave me a little pat on the back and said, "That's okay, mate, next time." And I look back now and I should have punched him in the face for sending me out there. But yeah, it got better because after that, after Darryl Brown was bowling smoke, the wheels really fell off for St. Barney's, and Rowan got on top of him a little bit. I think he got a few boundaries away, and Darryl Brown, who was bowling fast, decided to start bowling leg spin off about 4 steps with no one back on the leg side, and Rowan hit him for about 40 off 3 overs, and we won the game. So that was really good for me, and you know, my confidence and everything like that. And it's probably shown through my career why I haven't really developed into a good player, because of the lack of confidence that I had after my first game. But it doesn't get much worse than that, lads. So thanks for letting me share, Skulls.
Blame Hancock.
Hancock, yeah, never forgiven him.
And you know, we've talked in previous weeks about being able to focus. You know, when you stay in the moment when you're batting and stay focused. But I can also vouch for the fact that when the keeper is standing behind the stumps and is sobbing, like audibly sobbing, because of you know what's happened between the players, and the players are all arguing with each other, it is very, very off-putting and quite hard to concentrate.
They were real tears, like proper tears.
Like he walked off, and they tried to get him back on the field, and he was just, he was inconsolable. The poor bloke. I think he had Asperger's, and he wasn't overly. He struggled to manage his emotions, and so it was even worse from their teammates to be getting into this poor kid, and that's Saparidanis has got some answering for. He's a dreadful bit of work. He said he was going to knock all of my teeth out that day.
All right, Tommy McDermott. What about you? Have you got surely you've got a debut story for us?
Mine wasn't too exciting. We didn't even get a result. We got washed out in the first week, and then the opposition Bulleen batted most of the day, so we only came into bat for like the last 20 overs. Pretty much they have to try and get us all out to win. So I was keeping. I got picked as the keeper for that game and took a couple of catches in the wet, which was good. Yep. And then opened the batting and hit a 6 as a 15-year-old on debut, so I was pretty happy with that. And top scored with 36 not out. So nice. Good for me personally. Probably had a few beers after that as a 15-year-old as well. But
which we don't encourage.
We don't. The game itself, as Charlie said, playing with people that you sort of watch, and having my dad at the club was awesome. So I've always cherished that, and you still remember the first game now. So I've always loved that moment playing with the big fellas. So as you said, the bit more sledging and a bit more heat, every ball counted and everything compared to when you were younger. So it was a lot different, which I really enjoyed.
Yep. All right. Thanks, Tommy. Benji, have you got something for us?
Yeah, I'll start with my juniors first. So back in, I can't remember, 15 years ago, under 10s, came out to bat with my size 4 county, I think it was. Played some great shots, scored 14. Believe it or not, to the day, it's actually my second top score. So at the moment, I'm paying about, I think it's about $45 a run. So to my senior career, played my first game under Shane Kelly, absolute legend. Played down at Nettleton. I think we made 240 in a 2-day game, and then Shane decided to declare with about 20 overs to go in day one. And then pretty much from there, it's just been wickets that I owe Shane Kelly, pretty much. Yeah.
And what's your career batting average at the moment? What are you going at?
I don't know. I reckon I've made 100 runs at senior level, including a 32. So, yeah, that's pretty much.
Benj. Thanks for sharing that. Anyone else? Final call for any other debut stories?
I think Krishy could vouch for my GI debut story.
Yep.
Very much a team building day out in the field, out at North Baldwin. Lots of fun. Got there, looked like a bit of a sticky wicket. Good captain's decision. Well, everyone had decided that was bowling first was the idea, so I went with that. Yeah, 80 overs in the field later, and we all had a great bonding day. Lots of fun.
You can see why I jumped ship, because I don't think the captaincy game is for me. Yeah, good idea to send the boys into the field on the first day of the season for 80 overs at North Ball, and
it was good. 17 overs did wonders for the round one body.
I'm surprised the boys turned up for the second game of the year, to be honest, after that.
Yes, lots of fun.
I've got my
Freddie.
Well, a quick one. I think it was under Macca a few years ago, and he sort of whispered in my ear that I'd get a first debut that week. So that was pretty exciting. And we're getting there, and then Dean Tucky was lying down on the bench, sleeping, because he'd had a big night the night before, and basically hadn't really gotten any sleep. So he went fine leg to fine leg that day. And I remember bowling, managed to get a couple of wickets, which is great, and thought I'd be going down to fine leg. But no, Tucky took that spot the whole day, and I was sort of doing cover and mid wicket, so it's a bit closer than I liked, but it was still good. And I think we're playing Donvale, but we rolled them for about 120, and then I think we got rolled for about 110, so fell just short. And I think I was the last one to go. LBW, I think, and Goose top scored and managed to bat most of the game. I think I remember he made about 30 or 40, but we fell just short. But it was a good first experience, and pretty funny to see Tucky sleeping for half the game as well. Yeah.
Not the first time.
I don't think Dean played much cricket after that. That might have been his last game for a while.
Yeah, I think it might have been. That was it, the last straw.
He's coming back.
Is he?
Yeah.
That reminds me of you.
You're on mute, Macca.
Couple of years.
Macca, you're on mute. I think you had something to say, but
I just said, Tucky's all his demons have left him, so he's coming back to play. So you'll get the cricket demons back by the end of the season. You might see that again, Fred.
Yeah, that's good. As long as there's no peeing on the deck or at Glen Iris, then we'll be good.
I do remember that game, and you bowled very well. I think you took some big wickets there, because they had that gun bat who earlier in the year made about 180 in a one-dayer against us. That's Raven. I think you got him out.
Yeah, that was the guy who kissed his bat, didn't he?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
that's him.
Every time we got a run, he just kissed his bat.
That's both times. The first time we played him, I think we made like 200 and something. So we thought, how good is this? We got 2 early wickets, and I dropped the catch off that batsman, caught and bowled.
Yeah.
And he ended up making all the scores. We hit about 38 balls into the creek. And then so we left the first innings thinking we'd win. And then the next time chasing 120, I think we had too many party pies or something, because not chasing 120 wasn't great.
Yeah. All right. Well, look, I guess this season is definitely going to give everyone, especially those for those who are making their debut either at new club or new team. There's going to be some pretty unique stories. I think we were all pretty I guess it's pretty sure that, whatever cricket we get in this year is going to look a lot different. And it's going to operate a bit differently to normal. So there could be some pretty good, very unique debut stories come out of this season. So we wanted to also chat a little bit about have a discussion around run chasers. It was brought up last week as being a bit of a topic around how we might approach them and what's what are the different ways in which we do it and who does what and how it happens and what's the secret to a good run chase. So you got some thoughts on how you see us chasing down totals. Sometimes those small totals are tricky, as we just said there. That last game we couldn't get 120.
I really like the idea. I think Gruber might have said this years ago, but like breaking the innings up into lots of 10. So, 180 seems a big score in one day or something, but 18 blocks of 10 and you keep ticking them off. And I think that creates a little bit of that's another 10 boys and you can clap it when you're sitting off the side of the field waiting to bat. So I thought that was really good. I think obviously getting off to the start that you want and not losing early wickets, because once you lose early wickets, you can see how far behind the 8 ball you can drop. And then I reckon something else that's always costly in run chases is those middle overs where spinner comes on and can really tie up a batsman or a couple of batsmen and puts too much pressure on the end. And I think we've touched on most of these things before with the batting and everything, but leaving like someone to come in at the end and chase 100 off 10 overs, even though in theory it sounds good and you will get some of them, sometimes, especially on a Raven wicket late, it can just gets too hard for that batsman, too much pressure for park cricketers. So, when you're in, not giving up your wickets or thinking, we got a big hitter in after me, I can give my wicket away. Because I think all those little things in one-day cricket's the difference between, winning those couple of games by a run or in the last over or losing. And I remember one of the first years that we were in Dunstan, it was a very wet season, so we did play a lot of one-days that year as well. I think Roko would remember, and we probably won 7 of our games by under a few runs just from how much we wanted it and some smart cricket compared to the year after where we didn't win them and we got relegated. So if you can win those tight one days, especially this year, it's going to be huge because you see even the AFL now, some of those sides that lose those games end up missing the 8 where they could be a lot higher. So it's pretty crucial that every day of cricket's going to be a result. So if you're off a little bit, if you lose that day, it's going to be hard to catch up in a shorter season, I guess.
Yep. Yeah, no, definitely. It's one-day cricket can be won or lost. It's a game of inches, and it's small margins that make a big difference. So having those 3 or 4 over spells where you lose a bit of momentum or really get stuck, that can be the difference. So I guess it's how do we make sure we're prepared for that? Anyone else got some thoughts on that? Tommy?
No, I think that's, I think just also knowing your role when you're coming in to sort of, don't play the game just once you get out there. Be watching the game as you're waiting to bat so you know what's going on, not sort of just waiting to see, I just don't care or not following it because, 2 quick wickets go and then you're not thinking about, what this bowler's doing, how am I going to play that? So sort of knowing your game and knowing the situation before you're at the middle of the crease is probably something that can settle you and have you playing a role that you want to play before facing those 2 or 3 overs that might cost your team in the back end of the run chase. Yeah.
And sometimes, can be around understanding the bowlers too, that the other team might still have to bowl a couple of bowlers. And I think Brett might have mentioned that before, that they might have front loaded, with their bowling. So there might be a couple of bowlers we can target later on in the innings or at some point that there might be a good matchup for you. You might really like the left arm spinner versus the left arm quick. So, That's something that the partners, the batters need to talk about too, and target the bowler that you think you can do well against.
I think something that Rowe probably does pretty well is target that small boundary as well. Know when that bowler might be coming at that end, and that we can score heavily on this side of the ground, especially at Raven, where sometimes you do get a favoured side. So knowing that as well, because all these little things, as he said, if the other side's not doing that and we are, those little things might be the extra 10, 20 runs that you need to change that score, win you that game.
Yeah. Yeah, one of the things that I watch, over the last few years has been how many, who wins the games having made the most singles, and I think it's something like 90%, 95% of the games where we've made the most singles we've won, and that's 2-day cricket as well. So, that's something for us to keep in mind with our training and our match play is that the team that I think there's two sides to that: dot balls and singles. If you win both counts, you're probably going to win more games than you lose. Any thoughts here, Lotus?
I think what Mac has, and you've said spot on. I think just about what Mac was saying about understanding your role, you need to be aware that if you're that person and you're not a 4 or 6 hitter, you've got to get going from the get-go. You probably in one-day cricket, you don't have that time in terms of, 12, 15, 20 balls to just sort of see yourself in if you're chasing a fairly competitive run of ball total, because you don't want to force yourself into that position where you have to try and hit 4s or 6s. It's just not tenable to be able to catch up that way if that's not your style of play. Whereas if you are someone who can, know that you can clear the boundary a bit, it's okay if you soak a few balls up. And I'm obviously certainly a pretty portly sort of fellow, so I'm never going to be able to, burn anyone off their feet when I'm batting. So I just try and think, well, if I've soaked up a couple of dot balls, I've got my zones that I know that I can go to hit a 4 or a 6, and that's going to make up for the 2 or 3 that I may have missed out on. And you can always be better, but I think just one way or the other, if you're really clear in your mind, am I someone who's trying to get a run of ball, or am I someone who is my role's to probably try and hit your 4s and 6s? And I think too many times in local cricket, people can't make that distinction. And so what happens is they'll go out to bat and they'll face 20 balls, but might score 5. And then they'll try and hit one into the ocean. And of course, then they're out for 5 off 20, and then you're in a dreadful position because someone has to come in, get themselves started again. And that might compound to 40 balls and only 10 runs being scored between 2 guys. So if you're not conscious of that role, you can really cost your team.
Yeah, it's really getting good at hitting singles and getting up the other end, because the more you can do that, you'll get your bad balls, but the decent balls, the good balls, if you can rotate the strike, even if you need 6s and 7s, somehow the game always has this way of opening up at some point, and we've probably all watched enough cricket on TV that you think, they're never going to get there, but then 2 batters just chip away, and then all of a sudden they have that over of 14, like they finally get their eye in, or they just see something they like, and they have like a big over, and then all of a sudden they get home with like 8 balls to spare, and you're like, geez, that didn't look like they were going to get that run chase, but they'll probably held their nerve long enough and just chipped away to something for it to open up.
Yeah. I reckon, and that's about staying calm as well, because I think we spoke about it last week, when you just the run rate climbs a bit, don't panic, because once you panic, the game's gone. You'll give it away. And I think the last thing I want to say is if you're down the non-strikers, then your job is just as important as the striker, because I know for a fact, and just going back to the fact that I'm slow between wickets, I know that I have to be expecting to run every single ball. So by the time the bowler's got into his delivery stride, I need to be taking some massive strides so that I'm ready to take that run. So there's nothing worse as being an in batter and you call for a 1 and the bloke's sitting on his bat. Like that's a killer. So your role as the non-striker is honestly just as crucial as the guy hitting the pill.
Yeah, no, totally. Hey, Look, crew, it's been a good chat again. We could probably keep going with this for a while, but there's so many different aspects to it. But I'm mindful of time, and appreciate everyone's contributions tonight. And so just wanted, before we go, just ask any general questions about training, about what you're doing, what you're not doing. Is everyone okay with what their practice at the moment? Any questions about COVID, cricket? Really just open it up for anything. The last couple of minutes. No, all good. Yeah,
all good.
When's round one, Scouts?
We'll just remind everybody. Maybe just a quick reminder for everybody that we can't play cricket until we get to stage 2, and the ECA and other leagues are sort of all guessing at the moment when that'll be. But based on the numbers coming down, we're hoping the best case scenario that can be middle November. But the more realistic time frame for us is probably late November, early December. So it's really important we get the time and effort in on the track now, because what's going to happen is we're going to have about a 2-week run into round 1. We're not going to get much time to train, and training is going to be very restrictive with sort of 1 net open and 1 close and 5 in a net and so forth. So it's not going to be like what we're used to. So it's really important that we're doing the work, especially as we come into October and November. If we do the groundwork now, we're all going to be in a much better position for that 2-week, probably a 2-week window before we start round 1. So everyone's going to be underdone, but we're going to be the least underdone. That's the goal, I think, isn't it, Scott?
Yeah, something like that. So, is there any suggestions, anything people would like to see from us, the coaches? Anything else that would be helpful? Any ideas that you'd like us to run with over the next few weeks of this pre-season?
I've seen clubs doing Spotify groups, running, cycling. Well, I haven't got a good reaction from that one. But yeah, they're running their training on Spotify. Oh, that would be interesting. Oh, sorry, it's not Spotify. Strava. Sorry, Strava. Yeah.
Strava.
Yeah. I might listen to Spotify, but Strava. Yeah.
Is everyone keeping? I mean, is everyone training? Everyone keeping active to some degree? Keeping on the move? Yeah.
Mainly gym at the moment, but
yeah,
would like to get out. I need some new runners, I think, so I can start running again.
Yep. And given we are looking at November. I mean, there is an element to this of we don't want to go too hard too early, but you also we got to keep moving too. And I think for the guys who, for the players who want to be front and center, contributing really big, and most of you who are here are those players, and that's why you're here. And if you want to be that person, that player in the middle, having a big say in each match that we play this year. Every whatever you do, whether it's gym or hitting balls, catching balls, throwing balls, they're all credits. Yeah, they're all credits in the bank that you get to call on come round 1, 2, all the way through. So it is of course it's definitely challenging, and we'll find out very shortly about what the next few weeks look like. But whatever, if the restrictions ease enough for us to be able to get back out into the nets and do some use the nets one-on-one or anything like that, we'll start to do that, and work out the best way to do that for everyone. But otherwise, keep on the move, and keep reaching out to your teammates too. If you haven't heard from them or seen them for a while, I think it's good for us to all keep in contact as well, and keep dragging each other through this, and because at some point we will get out, and away we go. Any final thoughts, or are we all done? Scotty?
Everyone hear me?
Yes, coming.
Cool. Just regarding COVID, in the coming weeks, we'll put out something to the club just giving an update of where everything stands at the moment. But as Rocco just mentioned there, training's going to be different. So just in your head, think of COVID cricket. It's going to be different. different conditions training, different conditions for club rooms, different conditions for playing. So just get your head around a few things. Do a bit of reading yourself, so it's not a surprise. There are a few things that I've been reading the last week that are just like, Jesus, okay, we're doing that then. So
what are the most notable things, Scotty?
Turning up to a game in your whites.
Greens this year.
Yeah, turning up to a game in full kit, spikes.
A couple of things, which is going to be interesting.
Wearing
see
a
how it can be
mask
done.
off the field.
There's going to be 2 scorers benches. Scorers can't sit beside each other.
Lucky Rob.
So that kind of threw me a little bit. It's like, well, the reason you have 2 scorers sitting beside each other is so one doesn't cheat. But that's going to be something. Another one will be bowlers don't have any marks, but you put your jumper or hat at your marker, and that is not considered a 5-run penalty. So there's lots of little sort of weird little quirks.
What's the protocol on? I know we can't shine the ball, but is that just case that you can't put anything on the ball? I mean, because I'm cheating if.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I as a bowler personally, that's going to be difficult for me because it's part of the routine. It's part of the memory muscle. You walk back to your mark, you rub the ball, or you know, no sweat. So there's going to be a little bit of.
Someone's going to be sprinting from fine leg to fine leg just to work up enough sweat to be able to be using this. I reckon.
I feel like we could get away with cheating, and it might win us a flag. So.
Or half your team get COVID. I mean, one of the two.
Well, if you're out there with someone that's got COVID, we're probably in trouble anyway.
Just don't report.
I'm carrying a tub of 1 litre sun. I'm carrying a tub of 1 litre Sunsmart with me and just going, what? I'm just
there's going to be some interesting ways of getting around it.
Wearing
what about masks, Rex?
Vaseline under it.
Yeah.
The mask is going to be a thing. Everyone's going to be wearing a mask.
Bullshit.
Yep.
Playing cricket.
While playing?
Yep.
No.
While playing?
Yep.
I'm not playing.
While batting in January in 35-degree heat?
But you can run without it. How can you play sport with it? You're allowed to run without one.
Imagine that being a deep fine leg with a bloody mask on.
Okay, everyone have your spiel, but these are rules that are very fluid at the moment. So there's things that are going to change, but at the moment, get ready for that. It's COVID cricket.
You get ready for it.
We've got beautiful we've got club edition ones, beautiful labelled club edition ones for you, right?
Yeah, there's going to be.
I've got one. They don't breathe.
All right.
Any wicket keepers out there? If you're up at the stumps, you're wearing a mask.
We have to wear a cricket box around our face and tape it. That's the better.
And you can't. There's no sharing of equipment. What else is there off the top of my head?
So no carpooling.
No carpooling.
No carpooling.
Bangers in trouble.
Bring your own.
There'll be no shared afternoon tea. Bring your own afternoon tea and drink.
No fines. No player fines.
Well, I can't guarantee that.
Where are our fines from last year? Jubba's stolen them.
He has, yeah.
He can't leave out of a 5K radius, though, Rowan. So we're fine. We know where he is.
Good. He built a nursery with those fines.
Dog.
No, they're safe. All right, lads. I think we'll call it a night there. Thanks for checking in. Good to see you all. I know it's a highlight for me at the moment. Having a chat and seeing a few friendly faces. So nice one. Thanks for that. And stay active.
Go Tigers.
See you next week. Go Tigers.
Shut up, Scott.
Thank you.
Thanks, mate. See you guys.